So now you've looked at your specialisation teachers unit plan and you've considered do-for's 4 high impact questions. You've discussed and documented your answers. And these are really important for the first step of the planning process, to really understand the important aspects of a unit plan and, you know, how we're going to support each and every one of our students to improve, you know, student outcomes in the end. Okay, so these questions are really important that you're going to use in the next step. So using your ideas that you've come from these 4 questions, you are going to conceptualize this unit into an inquiry unit. An A3 framework sheet will be given to you by the workshop teacher, which you can write on, and it will look like this, okay, but blank. On this document, you're going to be brainstorming and outlining the skeleton of this inquiry-based unit. So you're not developing a highly detailed, you know, completed unit plan ready for teaching that has the detail of every minute of every lesson. Okay, so not like the lesson plan kind of outline, but you're documenting the core learnings in each stage of the Murdoch inquiry model on her 2019 framework or model for designing a journey of inquiry. So using the ideas that you've just discussed as a group, as well as the workshop teacher's unit plan, you need to fill out how you would change that unit into a unit of inquiry. So looking at each stage of inquiry, what should students experience? For example, if we look at the tuning in phase, the activity should really be engaging to grab students' interests. The activity should be diagnostic to find out what students know and what students don't know. The activity should be focused around introducing students to new discourse and, you know, meta-language, for an example. So we're accessing prior knowledge and documenting prior knowledge. We're formulating questions. And you'll need to do this for each of the stages in the inquiry model. You've covered the focus of each of these stages of the inquiry model process in our classes and also in your preparation for this workshop. So you should be familiar about what goes in which stage. But there's also prompts within the circles, as I've shown you, to help you identify what type of learning experience should be included in each stage of the framework. But if you're still unsure, you should refer back to the resources on VU Collaborate in the assessment section. So on the framework sheet, you will demonstrate your understanding by highlighting and annotating how you are addressing these 4 aspects. So we've got inclusion here, you know, thinking about meaningful learning experiences for all students, accessible for all, multiple entry points and differentiation. We've got curriculum, obviously, so the learning progressions, the capabilities, engagement, so we want authentic learning experiences, and assessment, so thinking about ongoing formative assessment and summative assessment, collecting knowledge on student progress. Now there's subheadings in the A3 sheet of paper to help you demonstrate these understandings by providing prompts. So for an example, if we look down the bottom, bottom left-hand side, I can't get closer than that, how will we offer students choice? Down here. It is obviously addressing differentiation and student agency. So these questions around the outside are going to help you answer the 4 important points on the assessment sheet. So you have about an hour and 50 minutes to do this task before we move on to the reflection. Be as thorough as time permits. Again, remember that you're not just being assessed on your written work, but also in your group discussion. So talk to each other and constructively and respectfully challenge each other's ideas. So pause the video now and begin the task. Finally, you will write a reflection to evaluate your conceptualized inquiry unit plan. And you're going to write these answers on the Google document that you have already set up. So you've got collaborative components and individual components, and both of these can be done on the same document. Together, consider what curriculum content, learning experiences and teaching approaches have you included that will allow your students, your hypothetical students, to demonstrate their achievement of the learning goals. Okay, so here you are giving evidence from within the unit design to validate how you're supporting your students. You also should discuss pedagogical approaches here that are specific to your specialisation, and substantiate your discussion with literature. So include at least one reference, and this is not including reference to the pedagogical model, which you should also do in that first dot point. The second question, what have we learned and how will this inform our instruction and planning in the future? So this question, you need to discuss what you've learned through this workshop experience and how you will utilise this learning experience in future teaching or planning. So generic statements here are obviously not going to receive a high distinction. You've got to be really specific as to how the learned skill applies to either instructional planning, whatever you're discussing. What does it actually look like? Third dot point, so what is the progress made with achieving the AT2 standards? So we've got some ones to choose from, and they can be found on the VU Collaborate space. So here we don't want you to just rewrite the AT2 standard. We really want you to discuss and evaluate how you have progressed or how you have achieved that particular standard, and you can just pick one. You're really justifying why you've achieved or how you've progressed in that particular standard here. Now, individually, what do I need to learn? So this is really identifying a gap in your knowledge or your skill set with reference to your initial goal setting. So going back to your your homework that you had to do to bring into the workshop, you can refer back to that. So what do you need to improve on, and why is this important for your own professional development? Then what learning goals will I now set for myself? So here we're talking about connecting to an AT2 standard, so just pick one or two and relate that to the gap, and don't just regurgitate the standards description. Here you really want to demonstrate that you understand the standard that you're talking about and the gap in your knowledge or skill set. And lastly, what strategies will I put in place to achieve these goals? Here, provide specific examples about how you plan to address and achieve the goals that you mentioned in the previous dot point. So here we're really looking for a clear link between the three. Okay, you're not regurgitating what you're saying in all three, but there has to be a common theme between the 3 dot points. So you've got 40 minutes to complete both parts of this reflection. At the end of the workshop, each group member must upload each document into the VU Collaborate Dropbox. This is the only way that everyone will be assessed, so make sure you upload all the documents that you've used today. You've got 2 ways of uploading the Google documents to the Dropbox. Either copy the shared link, the Google link, into a Word document, save that, and upload the Word document into the Dropbox, or you can download the document from the Google space and upload that. Either is fine. If you use the link, just make sure that the link works and others will be able to have visible access to it. Sometimes we have a few issues. So obviously, if you've done any written work on the framework, you'll also need to take a photo of your completed Murdoch's inquiry framework and upload it to the space, or just put it into the Word document. That's your choice, okay? But make sure all documents are up there so that you can be assessed.